Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be in the world today, and welcome to our webinar, How to Lead a Diverse Workforce. We're really thrilled to have you join us today. My name is Mallory Jones, and I'm the Vice President of Client Success here at ExecOnline, and I work with our participants along with my team. I work with our clients really to ensure that they have a great experience in our programs and in working with ExecOnline. I'll be leading the presentation today, and again, wonderful to have all of you here with us. So before we get started, I wanted to tell you a little bit about ExecOnline. We help organizations just like yours to solve their biggest challenges through premium online leadership development programs. So, how do we do this? We partner with top schools, including Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, Wharton, MIT, and IMD, to create university-certified programs. We also work with our clients. So we work with our clients to really understand their business needs, and then we deploy our programs as the solutions to those. So participants in our programs, for example, they develop projects as a part of the experience, and those projects really aim to solve, again, those business challenges that we've helped their organizations to identify. And so finally, we also measure the impact, so both the financial and business impact of each project. What you'll see on this next slide here, these are just some of our clients. So to date, we've worked with over 130 organizations, over 6,000 graduates from around the world and across different industries and functional areas. So today, we're going to discuss a few things. So one, we want to discuss really how you can help your organization manage and lead a geographically and culturally diverse workforce. And then first, we're really going to discuss the programs that can enable diversity. Secondly, we're going to walk you through these programs, really get an in-depth look. And then third, we're going to talk about how ExecOnline really proves the ROI. And then finally, we're going to highlight how you can get started. So we'll have some time at the end for questions. We really welcome your questions and comments throughout the presentation. You can feel free to post those into the chat box, and we'll answer those along the way as well. So I want to start here by really highlighting some of the challenges that we see with regard to diversity and some of the insights here, if you will. So again, just to this will help to frame our discussion today, but I want to point out some important statistics. What you'll see here is that nearly 80% of CEOs said that they expect to increase headcount over the next 3 years. 77% of those CEOs see the availability of key skills as really their biggest threat when it comes to their businesses. And then about a third of executives said their top teams allocated the right amount of time to topics they considered important, such as strategy and people and things like that. And really, gender diverse companies, they're about 15% more likely to outperform their peers, and then ethnically diverse companies are 35% more likely. So it's important. I think we all agree. Inclusion teams, they outperform their teams by 80% when it comes to team-based assessments. And then, what you can see here, 85%. So clearly, the vast majority of companies, they agree that diversity is really key to driving innovation in the workplace. So ExecOnline offers 3 programs that help companies with leading a diverse workforce. So leading and managing globally. That's with Yale and IMD. Building and leading effective teams with Columbia Business School. And then fostering inclusion and diversity with Yale School of Management. So let's go into each one of these in depth. We'll start with leading and managing globally. Again, this is with Yale and IMD. So participants learn really both general skills for exercising power and influence across organizational structures, as well as some specific competencies for really interacting across cultural and geographic boundaries. The program is taught by a really all-star cast of professors. So for example, Professor James Barron, he's a leading educator and author. He's got over 30 years of experience, and his research, it really focuses on things like human resources, organizational design and behavior, work and labor markets, careers, economic sociology, and he's got a real interest for entrepreneurial companies. Professor Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, he's an influential business professor, no doubt, also a scholar and a media commentator. So he's the Senior Associate Dean of Leadership Programs and a professor in the practice of management at the Yale School of Management. And then he's, according to Business Week, he's among the 10 most influential business school professors. And then finally, Professor Martha Mesnetsky. She's an expert in global teams, global leadership, culture, and identity. And really, she focuses on how to empower individual differences. So she works closely with leaders in their companies around the world, really, for innovative approaches to leadership, really, at all levels. And she's the faculty director of executive education at Ivy Business School, actually a past professor of IMD. So what are the key concepts that participants are going to learn in this program? We'll look at that next. So for example, organizational design. This is a framework that participants can leverage to really understand how business activities are structured and integrated within complex matrix global enterprises. And then power mapping, this is another concept that I'll highlight. This is an analysis, if you will, of formal and informal sources of power in an organization. So how can we help participants to really shore up power and influence at really both a personal as well as a departmental level? And then another concept here is the MBI model. So I'll highlight just one more concept. You can see there's several here on the slide though. So the MBI model, MBI stands for mapping, bridging, and integrating. And it's a model. It was developed by Professor Mesnetsky. It's to drive performance in diverse teams. So again, just a few concepts there with the Leading and Managing Globally program. But let me see if I can bring this to life for you with the week-by-week experience for participants. So for example, in the first module, Professor Mesnetsky and Professor Barron, they provide really those foundational concepts, those that relate to global management, the role of organizational design. And then with guidance, participants are going to select a global challenge in your organization and really begin to analyze the organizational structures that govern that activity. So this challenge, it's going to form the basis of their personal case study, their project that they're going to be working on throughout the program. So again, a challenge that's relevant to your personal organization. And then the next module, Module 2, Professor Barron, he'll discuss the various types of formal and informal power. Again, I've mentioned this in earlier slides, but again, those that really a global manager must understand in order to effectively achieve the organization's goals. So participants in this program, they'll apply these ideas by really diagnosing the sources of power and particularly those relevant to their personal case, the project that they're working on. So then in Module 3, Professor Barron, he provides more tools. So how can you evaluate the personal dynamics relevant to your organization and those initiatives? So by showing really how networks can facilitate or even sometimes thwart critical information flows. And then participants will be empowered to really notice new bridging opportunities that can increase operational effectiveness. So then in the next module, Module 4, this is when Professor Mesnetsky, she introduces that map, bridge, integrate framework, so the MBI framework that I mentioned, that helps participants to understand culture. So most people, they're aware that personality, affects behavior, but they oftentimes they fail to recognize that, really cultural assumptions, they can also affect behavior in really profound ways. So in this module, participants will apply the concepts of decentering and recentering to really gain a greater understanding of effectiveness in personal interactions, and particularly as it relates to kind of cultural divides. So then in Module 5, Professor Mesnetsky, she applies, this new understanding of culture to really working across geographic divides. And so, in virtual teams, working effectively is really required as it relates to these new skills and ideas. And participants, they develop personal strategies for really effective collaboration and learn how to exercise greater leadership therein. And then finally, in the final module, in Module 6, participants, they create an action proposal that really integrates the different pieces of analysis that they've been doing throughout the course. So Professor Mesnetsky and Barron, they provide guidance for implementation and change as well as if participants, look to conclude the program. And they do this by providing change models, effective tactics, if you will, for overcoming resistance. So this is the week-by-week experience. You know, want to bring this to life for you again in a different way here, in the sense of sharing with you some projects, real projects that participants have done in the Leading and Managing Globally program that are relevant to their companies, you know, to help you really sort of visualize projects that other participants from your company, you know, could do. So, for example, a vice president for a healthcare company developed a plan to really better align and coordinate efforts, as well as investments between their commercial infrastructure, clinical programs, and medical education departments. And this participant said that their project would increase efficiency by 50% and would have a projected financial impact of $10 million. And then the next project here you can see is a consumer products company. So this person launched a program to really consolidate their partner management teams and increase offshoring. And this participant said this would increase employee productivity by 20% with a projected financial impact of $6 million. And then the final project you'll see here, this is a manager for a financial company that developed a plan to bring clients tailor-made solutions. So again, here increasing efficiency by 20% with a projected financial impact of $10 million. So that's a little bit about the Leading and Managing Globally program. I'm now going to switch gears and we'll talk about the Building and Leading Effective Teams program, again with Columbia Business School. So in Building and Leading Effective Teams, participants, they really learn how to harness their team's collective intellectual and creative power in order to help their companies seize new business opportunities. So the program, it empowers participants to really maximize the potential of their team. You know, it generates things like better decision making, increases productivity and innovation, develops relationships, more team solidarity, and in general, it really looks to generate broad organizational support for initiatives. So the program is taught by Professor Bill Klepper. Professor Bill Klepper, he's a best-selling author, he's got several books actually, and he's an expert on executive learning, strategic leadership, and corporate governance. He's created numerous custom programs for leading companies really around the world, and he is head of all executive education for Columbia Business School. So again, an all-star professor for this course. Let's take a deeper dive into the program concepts for this course. So for example, the team success formula. So Professor Klepper, he explains here the pathway for developing innovative teams. So how to know yourself, how to control yourself, know others, how to do something for others. And then social styles. So here participants, they learn a framework for really understanding the social behavior of their own selves as well as others. So, you know, are you an analytic? Are you a driver, an expressive, an amiable? I happen to be an expressive, for example. And then consensus decision making. This is when participants, they learn, you know, what's really a strategic approach to generating innovative ideas that ultimately are going to maximize team collaboration and commitment to outcomes. So, so again, this is consensus decision making, and participants find this to be, you know, particularly insightful. And then finally, persuasion principle. So this is a seminal system of key persuaders that participants will master in the course. And so now that we've looked at a few of the key concepts, let's switch gears and we'll look at what participants, again, what they learn on a week-by-week basis. So in Module 1, Professor Klepper, he, again, it's all about the foundational concepts and tools for diagnosing team dynamics. Participants are introduced to the concept of a team success formula and really learn how to distinguish different styles on their team. With guidance, participants, they also identify a critical issue that is facing their team. So again, a real-world project at your organization, and they create a team success strategy. They also take a self-assessment during this module to understand what their own leadership style is. So again, are they an amiable, analytic, driver, expressive, etc. And then in Module 2, Professor Klepper shows participants really how to align their leadership role with each stage of team development. So participants learn how to run a consensus-based meeting, for example. And then finally, in Module 3, Professor Klepper provides a framework and tools for really effectively influencing key stakeholders. So participants, they create a plan to persuade document, and they conduct a meeting with their team that, ultimately the goal is to come to a consensus on a solution to that critical issue that they developed at the beginning of the course. So again, let's look at some of the projects from this program. So the first project we have here, it's a general manager for an infrastructure services company. This person established a software and really a process solution for scheduling projects. And this person said that this would increase employee productivity by 75% and had a projected financial impact that was unknown in this case. So then a product manager, a general manager for an infrastructure services company, for a technology company, made the business case to invest in a system-based workflow and, in addition, really looking to provide data to make better decisions. So this looked to increase employee productivity by 75% and ultimately projected financial impact of $1 million. So again, a few projects there in this company. Again, the last one here is a procurement manager for a technology company that was really able to make the business case to invest in a better system-based workflow. And this looked to increase efficiency by 20% with a estimated financial impact of $3 million. So for our final program, I want to tell you a little bit about fostering inclusion and diversity. This is ExactOnline's newest program with Yale School of Management. So fostering inclusion and diversity, it really equips leaders with the skills that they need to make better business decisions by leading more diverse and inclusive teams, looking to create teams that really outperform their peers. So this program is taught by two really leading professors. The first is Amy Wrzesniewski. She's an expert in really in organizational behavior, and her research focuses on how people make meaning of their work. So really in difficult contexts, such as stigmatized occupations, virtual work, absence of work. Her research on the meaning of work has been published in a wide range of top academic journals. So those like Forbes, Time, Business Week, Harvard Business Review. And then Professor Heidi Brooks, she's a leading educator and consultant who's really designed leadership development programs for numerous Fortune 500 companies. And she specializes in leadership and community development for individuals, as well as organizations and large systems. Since 2003, Brooks, she's been on the faculty at the Yale School of Management, where she is the faculty director for the Global Pre-MBA Leadership Program. So next we'll take a look at some of the key concepts for this program. So what are your leaders going to learn in fostering inclusion and diversity? So for example here, redefining leadership. So this is when leaders will receive new perspectives on the role and goals that they have as a leader, and really how to best meet the organization's expectations for performance. The second concept here is around promoting behavioral change. This is, again, it's a topic where participants are going to learn how to implement behavioral process, cultural norm changes that really encourage individuals to move from a perspective of compliance and more toward internalization. And then here are conscious biases. So here participants, they'll learn how to acknowledge and really actively manage biases that block personal and team performance. The next one here is around dimensions of diversity. So this is when participants will learn how to recognize the really many differences that exist in any group, really beyond age, race, gender, that can be leveraged as they look to generate new insights and enhance team performance. And then the next one here is around reinforcing patterns of disengagement. So participants will learn how to look at common patterns of behavior and really presumptions, and how to reinforce cycles of disengagement and demotivation as well. So the next one here is around marketplace perceptions. So this is when participants, they learn how internal inclusion and diversity efforts, as well as attitudes, really are reflected in customer and general public views of your organization. So that's, again, a little bit about the concepts in the Fostering Inclusion and Diversity program. And let's see how that comes to life here in the week by week. So in Module 1, this module really focuses on opening participants' thinking about the nature of inclusion. So the impact of diversity here on individual and interpersonal processes and the role biases play in their daily actions and really their daily decision making. So unconscious bias is also discussed as really a powerful influencing factor in leaders' interactions with one another. And then in Module 2, in this module, participants, they focus really to broaden from individual biases to really address how things like inclusion, bias, and decision playing out at the interpersonal as well as the group level. And in this module, participants will learn about the key components of things like group decision making, how to become a better active listener, and then how to have a strong emotional intelligence. This really helps to enable participants that might have often had difficult conversations related to inclusion and diversity. And then the final module, Module 3, this module hones in on how participants can create more inclusive decision-making processes within their teams and their organization. So they're going to learn the elements of group, what's called group collective intelligence, and how they can be incorporated into effective group inclusion practices. So strategies related to things like how to consider the sensitive topics of things like power, coalition building, culture change, really looking to increase adoption of new inclusion practices, in your organization. So, and again, this is our newest program, Fostering Inclusion and Diversity. So we'll look to see some great projects coming out of this program in the fall. So as many of you know, every function within an organization is really, under pressure to improve the business impact of their initiatives, and certainly HR is no different. So here we'll talk about how Exact Online helps HR partners to improve ROI, which has, significant upside. So when HR leaders like yourself, when you're able to show the business and financial impact of L&D initiatives, certainly helps to play a larger role and more strategic role within the organization. So I'll just take a moment here and tell you how we prove the impact of our programs, for example. So on average, we return 102 times the investment back to our partner organizations. This goes back to the projects that we talked about. So we know that 96%, for example, of our participants apply their learnings, and 98% improve their skills. And then the vast majority of people just have a great experience. So 96% of participants report having a great experience in our programs. So, really what's important here is that HR partners are using this data, particularly the ROI from the programs, and they're using it oftentimes to make the case for additional resources. So, we hear from clients all the time that, again, HR's increasingly under pressure to report ROI, and that's in line, again, with the rest of their businesses. So our programs, they help to achieve development results, they contribute to really solving business challenges, and they make it easier for HR professionals to report back to the rest of the business. So here we'll take a quick look at the fall timeline. And really the sooner participants start, the sooner your organization can start to realize these returns. So, what you'll see here is that the welcome module is already open. It opened on August 16th. This is an opportunity for participants to do things like take their tech check, get their time preferences for the live events, and really get a taste of the content and, start interacting with the platform. But really everything begins when the orientation module opens on September 22nd. So in this module, participants will create they'll complete their first assignment, their pre-work assignment, where they'll, again, identify the challenge related to your business that they'd like to focus on in the course. And this, again, starts on September 22nd. So then all of the programs start on October 2nd. The 3-week programs, such as building and leading effective teams and fostering inclusion and diversity, they will end on October 22nd. And then the 6-week programs, like leading and managing globally, will end on November 12th. We do ask that you submit your rosters by September 8th, and we'll tell you a little bit about how you can do that here in a moment. So, for example, if you're an individual or you have an open enrollment model, you can self-select your program of choice through our website, www.exactonline.com. And really on all of our program pages, there's a form there you can fill out and submit, and we'll get back to you with next steps. If you're an HR person or you're someone that needs to nominate, you can select your participants, and really once your roster is finalized, you can simply go to the Enterprise portal, enterprise.exactonline.com, and submit your roster there. Really we're here to help you with enrollment, so if you have any questions or need support as you look to reach out to others internally, just contact enrollment@exactonline.com, and we'd be happy to help. So let's look at a few frequently asked questions as you to help you think about some that you might have yourself in terms of questions or feedback. So, for example, how do you support busy travel schedules? So, Exact Online courses, they're specifically designed to really support busy travel schedules. Our retention team, they offer what we think of as really white glove service to participants. So, whether they've got a busy work schedule, they're traveling, or whatever the case may be, again, we're here to help them either work ahead or catch back up if they've fallen behind. And the other thing that participants often take advantage of is the iPad app. So with this, you can download the lecture content in advance of travel, and then you can watch it offline. And then here you'll see, do you support tuition reimbursement? We absolutely do. We have a partner that's called EdAssist, and we work with EdAssist to ensure compliance with all of our partners as it relates to tuition reimbursement. And then what about feedback? How do you collect feedback from participants? Ultimately we collect feedback in a variety of ways, both quantitative and qualitative, and particularly after weeks 1, 3, and 6 of the program. We're always using this feedback to really go back and look to see how we can improve the programs and ensure that we're really providing the highest quality experience. And then here, what about if I'd like to learn more about the participant experience? So if you'd like to learn more, you can click on the link here. You can also reach out to your client success manager to schedule a participant experience demo. So at this point, we'll open up the lines to any questions that you may have. Again, you can feel free to post those questions in the chat box on the GoToMeeting panel. Great, so our first question, what is the completion rate of your programs? So Exact Online, we're really proud to boast a 92% completion rate across all of our programs. Every semester, we've maintained a 90+ completion rate. And again, this is in part due to, I think, the engagement of the programs, as well as the retention team that's there to support anyone who may need, may need some extra support given their a busy work or personal or travel schedule. Any other questions from the group? Okay, all right, so we'll just wrap up here today by letting you know some of the things that are new and sort of upcoming here at Exact Online. So for example, I want to share with you in October, we're hosting Exact Connect. This is Exact Online's annual conference, and over 200 business leaders, as well as Exact Online alumni, will come together for the event. It'll feature, really speakers from top business schools and as well as industry thought leaders. So we'd love to have you there. Again, you can contact us at enrollment@exactonline.com, or you can visit the link there that you see if you're interested. And then additionally, we recently released a new white paper. It's called A Project-Based Approach to L&D Investments. And in this white paper, you'll really discover why it's important for organizations to prove their L&D programs ROI and how to use a project-based approach to programs to really make it happen. So at this point, we'd love for you to rate our webinar. So we'll launch a quick poll, and we sincerely appreciate your feedback. Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you attending, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon. Hope you have a wonderful day.